It's so epic to see everyone, apparently. Thank you so much. This is a 2-day event. And so what is being expressed is apparently the you, the me, the no me, the self, the source, the I am is neither real or unreal. All are made up words of suggesting separation, yet completely meaningless, since separation is a concept where all of these identities maintain. You cannot unself yourself. Simply, there's no self or no you. There's no you to get rid of or a me to drop. The illusory self is a self-generating ghost in an empty shell. The I am is a spiritual cosplay of an imaginary being. The you that feels real is afraid to step aside to get exposed. That is not real, so it makes a lot of noise. Self-affirmations, constructs brick walls made out of words, and believes all of its lies as truth, firmly in the position of being right. Although there's nothing wrong with any of this. Apparently, it even fakes its own death and declares its non-existence. Or worse, adopts a false sense of enlightenment, and there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just what's happening. So apparently, when it gets thrown off of its self-preservation mode and pulsates in and out and glimpses that there's nothing inside or outside, the emptiness sees emptiness and obliterates the belief of the you, the me, the no me, the self, the I am. There is no such thing as projection. There's no reflection. There's no witness to this. No one is looking in. No one is looking out. The seeming perceiver of reality is nothing but a thin veil, like a flowing curtain that moves on a wide open window on a clear blue sky, back and forth, through and back. When the wind blows and the fixation is on the movement, it creates the identity, a veil of separation, and it identifies as the you, the me, the no me, the self, the I am, the source, whatever seems to come to mind. However, in the deepest stillness of the night, the you, the me, the no me, the self, the I am, the transparency of the emptiness of all imaginary thoughts, it pierces through and sees that there's nothing. The apparent self-hypnosis collapses and reveals that there's no one. There's no one revealing this. There's no one seeking this. There's simply no one to know. There's no one to believe. The you, the me, the no me, the source, the self, the awareness, the divine, or whatever seems to be made up in the idea of attainment or derailment of something that needs to be lost. Then all of a sudden, when it's seen that everything is already completely empty, devoid of anything, there's no one here. There's no one here. Simply, there's no one here. And the seeming ideas that pulsates of being, finding, losing is just pulsations. It's a pulsating appearance of something that's never there. All of there is this permanence that cannot even be called that, because that seems to be a position, a knowing, an understanding. This is not an experience. This is not a state. This is not a fleeting moment. There are no moments. There are nothing at all. And what's being expressed is in this wow absence of it all, there's seemingly a felt sense of nothingness that was never there. Because the one that seemingly is feeling all of these appearances, the me, the you, the others, the self, the I am, is just a pulsation. It's an appearance. It's coming in and out. And what seems to be permanently, infinitely, always, is this boundless freedom, this unknowingness, the beauty of not knowing, the unconditional love that cannot be explained or explored even. It cannot be thought about. What seems to be appearing is thisness. And in thisness, there is this or that, but this and that is just this. And what this is simply unbelievable. It cannot be known, it cannot be captured, it cannot be framed. So what seems to appear is just this innocence that's always there, that's untouched. There seems to be this pureness that no matter what seems to arise is always this pureness. And these words are just markers of something that cannot be captured. These words that are appearing out of nowhere are completely meaningless. These words that are pulsating inside and out of stillness and silence is just this. But there's nothing wrong with words, but there's nothing right with words. There's no truth in words. There's also no lies in words because it's just an appearance. In this appearance, this perfection that seems to be imperfect, everything that appears is already freedom. Everything that seems to be pulsating, that seems to be coming in and out is also stillness. There's this movement, like thoughts coming in and out, sounds coming in and out. Silence is always present. In this apparent wholeness, there's going to be some incompleteness that seems to appear. There's a lack, there's opposition, whatever seems to appear. So what seems to be appearing, even this pulsating you, me, other, self, I am, all of these ideas that comes in and out, it's just freedom flexing its freedom. It's just freedom appearing as whatever seems to appear. The thoughts that I'm not complete is freedom. The thought that something is missing is freedom. The thought that there's me to drop is freedom. The thought that I am here is freedom. The thought that there's no me, or there has to be hoping for a dropping of the me is freedom appearing as. But what freedom is already freedom. And there's nothing that's needed in freedom because it's unconditional freedom. So in this boundless freedom, all of these boundaries seems to appear like a veil of separation, the self, the me, the belief. All of these ideas that comes in and out is freedom itself. So there's really nothing that's needed. There's nothing that's missing because it already is completely this. And what's being expressed is the, wow, this is unknowable. This freedom is just simply appearing as everything. This freedom is appearing as you, as me, although there's no you or me. It's freedom appearing as bondage. It's freedom appearing as suffering. But what seems to be pulsating inside and out is states or appearances or moments, but there are no moments in this boundless freedom. Only the appearance of time seeming to be coming and going. Being, all of this movement is this wondrous appearance of nothing, seemingly appearing as everything. It's the wall, it's the air, it's the taste in your mouth, it's the love, it's the bitterness, it's the comparison, it's the jealousy, it's the feeling. That's freedom appearing as all of this. What a wondrous, wondrous, boundless freedom this is. That no matter what seems to appear, it always is. But seemingly everything that seems to appear seems to be grasped as real or not real. It's a play of opposition. It's a play of light. It's a play of sounds. It's an orchestra of nothing, playing a singular song that's an illusion. You are not here. Even if you feel that you are here, there's this pulsation that seems to appear coming in and out, and it's just deliciousness. There's this nakedness, there's this directness of something that is so profound, something that is so simple, yet seems so complicated. It's wowness, wowness, wowness. Even when it's not wow, it's wowness. And this is what's being expressed that's going to be presented as a suggestion that it's already this. There's nothing to find. The search is over. There's no one seeking. It's just this. It's just this. If you have any questions, please go ahead and you can raise your hand and it will show up as a raised hand. You can seemingly do a thumbs up, and that's also it. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you. I like it too. It's cool. Seemingly there was a lot of wearing of ties and everything throughout the week, so this is nice. Oh, question here. Hi, Emerson. I really love your poem that you sent in a letter. Can you read it again? Sure. I don't know where it is. Just a second. Or do you want to read it? It's very similar to what's being expressed. What's being expressed is very similar. It's just the expression that nothing is missing. I can't remember where it is. Sorry, just a second, okay? If somebody has it, if they can share it. Okay, there it is. I think I found it. Oh, no. Oh, there it is. Oh, no, that's the old letter. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, sure. It's the same thing that's being expressed over and over again, but I'll read it. Already this, an uncomplicated fundamental shift in perception reveals that all there is already this. This in cost shift does not happen to anyone. What is exposed as what is. What already is this. Simply this, not two, just this. Permanent emptiness, unknowable stillness. What is illuminated is that there is nothing needed, there is no destination, and everything is nothing. Paradise realizes that there's nothing to realize. The you, the me, the no me, the self, the source, the I am is nothing but a construct, an appearance, the illusion of all illusions. Words are imaginary architects of separation. There's simply no one in the absence of thoughts. Paradise sees only paradise and is struck blind by unconditional love. Wow, it's always been this unspeakable, unknowable this. Was that the one? Thank you. Oh, you want me to comment on it? Sorry. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's what is being expressed is in the absence of everything that is thought of, in the absence of everything that is imagined, in the absence of you that imagines that you is real, the you, the apparent you, or the me that creates this separate illusion of separation, that there is something missing or there's something lacking, which is powered by the ideas or thoughts that comes in and out like bubbles of, something's lacking, something's missing, something is, there's something wrong. When it's seen that all of these appearances, this seeming pulsating ideas that comes in and out, when there's a pause, that pulsating idea that comes in and out, when there is a directness, that appearance of you, me, other, everything that is thought of is just seen as completely empty, because they're just words, they're just thoughts. They're like kind of like what I said, they're architects of separation, imaginary architects of separations, words that are made up of words. And it creates this seeming veil of separation that there's something missing. And then the words are believed into thinking that there are steps needed, or there was a step that was taken. There's nothing needed. There's no steps that were taken. There's no steps that needs to be taken, because what already is clearly and obviously already this. But the moment that there's the machinations of thoughts and ideas and figuring out, trying to understand, trying to grasp what is he saying and everything, then there is this journey that goes in and out, that pulsates back and forth and misses the stillness in all of this. The stillness that is so obvious. But the pulsating does not see the stillness because it's going in and out. Although there's no one going in and out, there's this appearance of movement in stillness. But what seems to be pulsating in and out is also stillness that's moving. The words that seems to appear are also silence that's sounding. The ideas that are coming up, the thoughts that seemingly kind of like, chatter and everything, is just emptiness having a party as thoughts. It's really nothing. It's really nothing. There are no states, there are no levels, there are no nothing. It's just this. And it's just beautiful, beautiful thisness. Thank you for the question, for the suggestion. Thank you, Patrice. Yes, words, imaginary architecture of separation. They're construct. Everything is a construct. Everything that is being spoken about here is a construct. But it's expressing something that cannot be expressed in words. It's the obviousness that this coming in and out of, hearing and not hearing are just pulsations, are just movements, are just in and out. But there's no in and out. There's no appearance or disappearance. All of this simultaneous, spontaneous happening is also not happening. But there seems to be a tracking of thoughts, a seeming kind of like, consciousness or awareness of what seems to be happening. When all of that collapses, when the awareness collapses, it's just this. Simply this. There's no witness, there's no observer, there's no observed. It's just this. No subject object, no you and me. It's just this. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, hi, Katerina. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm awesome. Oh, just a second, okay? It seems like I'm not spotlighted. Okay, just a moment here. There we go. Hello.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about what information the apparent body holds in the sense that
in the story, there can be lots of explanation, right? That the body holds and everything. But it's just a story as well. It will feel absolutely real. It will feel like, for example, if you get a scar, there'll be a story about the scar. But what's being missed is that it's just this. All that there is this, right? So there's going to be thoughts about, I was riding a bike when I was 4 years old and I have this big scar, you know what I'm saying, when I crashed and everything. But there's no history, there's no past really, right? So there's going to be this narrative of the body. There's going to be a narrative, kind of like when you're dreaming, that everything seems to have a history. For example, because if there's no history, there seems to be, it doesn't make sense that it's just this. So there's a running narrative of the body, having all of these reactions and everything. And in the story, I'm saying, it does feel absolutely real.
So is that how it is in your life too? Because what would you say the character? What do you mean?
Yeah, this appearance of Emerson, like the appearance of Katerina, that seems to come in and out, right? There's no permanent Katrina, there's no permanent Emerson. Even in a timeline, I'm saying, there's a birth and a death. But what's being seen is that this appearance of beginnings and endings, you and I, are just architecture of illusion. It's a
character in this
character is just basically a word describing this unknowable appearance. I call it a character.
So isn't there information in this character, like the fact that you speak English, or you're like pink shirts?
Yeah, for sure. I like the pink shirt. Yeah. So in the appearance, in the story, right, this character is going to have a whole history, right? For example, this character was born in 1971, grew up in a great family, and some tragic stories too, you know what I'm saying? But all of that is just appearing in this appearance at this apparent moment. So for example, what's being expressed that all that there is this emptiness, this infinite emptiness that's just appearing as this. It's like the character can't go back and confirm that it was really born in time. The character can't even confirm that it had a scar on his left, eyebrow here from a bike ride.
Right, so, but the character still lives a life based on what information, I mean, on the scar or on
of
what
course, or like even the language that's being spoken right now, right? Yeah. Seemingly it was learned when this character came to Canada, right? It's something that was, but again, in that story, for example, it can also say that, but it's all a story. In this appearance, if all of this is just an appearance, this is a story that this is what really happened to me. That this is something that is verifiable, for example, but all of that is just all of this flood of ideas that seem to kind of like, when was he born? When was he? All of this kind of like questions and everything.
But it keeps on happening.
What's that?
It keeps on happening. It's not, I mean, the way a non-separate being sees things, I'm sure you remember, it keeps happening. So it's not just the past. It's like the story is still unfolding.
Of course, yeah, of course.
And,
it's
so is there any
is it really unfolding though? If it's really seen, is it really unfolding? Is there really a next other than an idea? Is there really a past other than an idea? Is there a Katerina other than a thought? Is there an Emerson other than a word or a thought? So in the absence of all of these words, thoughts, ideas, past, present, separation, body, and everything, this is unknowable. For example, if there is a blackout of, a seeming kind of like amnesia of words or a disintegration of thoughts and everything, this cannot be explained. This doesn't even have a history, so to speak. The history only appears as an appearance, as an idea that comes and like, when I was 7 years old, that kind of thing, right? It's just appearing. There is no, or even if seemingly, for example, you're like, well, I have a picture of you when you were born and everything. It's all appearing in thisness. It's not. It's like when there is a dreaming at night, seemingly, right? There's this, it's unquestionable of what's happening. So this appearance right now is seemingly unquestionable because there's no one that questions it.
So but there is
So go ahead.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No worries.
Because from this point of view, in the sense that there is a separate self,
but is there really this point of view, other than a thought, other than an idea, other than a concept, other than something that's just arising?
I agree intellectually. I completely agree.
Okay.
Of course, I understand there is no, I mean, the concept of there being a real person here is crazy.
Yes.
Still, I feel that.
Yes.
I mean, the concept
but who feels that though?
People is crazy. Who feels it?
Yeah. Other than a thought again. Yeah, but that's just another thought, isn't it?
So it's all in the mind then. Some people say there is a contraction in the body as well, coming together with the thought or something. But everybody agrees that there is nothing that can be done about it because there's nobody that can do anything. So we're back in the story.
Yeah.
For us. We're back in the story. And my question is,
sorry, go ahead.
My question is, any effort to change the belief that is behind the stories in order to better the life. Is it that is possible, isn't it? What is that for you? The question is, how is that for you? Like you do have, everyday problems in your life, or big or small.
Yeah.
How is it for you? When there's nobody there, how is it?
Okay. There's also nobody there, by the way.
But it's felt that there is.
Okay. Aside from a thought that there is, there's really nobody there.
And the contraction.
So seemingly, what this appearance is, in this appearance, for example, if it sees a bill for like internet, it pays it, right? If it's seemingly there's a problem, for example, yesterday, kind of like I went with my brother, we got some ice cream and we came back to my house and there's an ambulance. And this character ran right away to make sure that, everything is okay. But it was not my mom. It was just the neighbor, the ambulance, right? So there's this seeming reactions that happen, right? But there's no one personalizing it. It's just rather than kind of like an idea of, is this happening to me? So the thoughts that seems to arise, although there are really no thoughts, is just seen as direct. It's seen as an appearance. It's seen
So
as
yeah.
it's seen as a dream, although there's no one dreaming, right? There's this unknowable stillness that whatever seems to appear as problems or running to see if your mom is okay is basically like bubbles that comes in and out. It doesn't
So there's
have any.
no, yeah.
Yeah,
There is nothing trying to figure out if there is a
no
pattern there or trying to change something in order
no it yeah, when it's seen
create
that there's no one there that can change, when it's seen that the thought of you is just a thought, then there's nothing that can be done to change the thought. There's nothing that can be done because what is already seen is just, there's just this appearance, and that's even a thought. That's just basically is there really something appearing here? Is there really something going on here? Is there really someone here? Is there really someone there? Is this really even happening? Is this even real? So all of these thoughts that seems to come up here and everything are absent. There's really no one behind it. These words, like the words that seems to come from Katerina, are appearing, coming out of nowhere. But there's a thought that it's coming from Katerina, which is also coming out from nowhere. And then even the thought of Katerina is another thought. And the thought that there's an Emerson there, that's just, there's no Emerson, there's just another thought. So it's just a circular, like a blizzard of thoughts that comes in and it stops. Blizzard of thoughts that comes in, it stops. So when it's seen that there's really nothing behind the thought, meaning that there's no one controlling any of these thoughts, it's like watching something that is just, there's no control of anything, but there's no one watching it as well. So what seems to appear in this fantasticness, this, right? There's this colors and there's this matching wood background and everything. These are just words. In the absence of word, yeah. Did you like it? I copied you. So in the absence of all of this, saying all of this pulsation, right? It misses this stillness, the air. It misses the silence, but focuses on the sound. It misses the nothing in everything, the silence and sound. Yeah. So it comes up with all of these questions and say that, oh, what is it? What's the difference then when there's no Emerson there? But there's also no Katerina there. That's just a thought that there's no Emerson here.
It seems that you do not take these bubble of thought seriously, whereas I do. I take them seriously and
but
I try to really find a...
Do you really do? Are you the one that's really taking this seriously? Or is that a thought? Is just something that's arising right now?
Whatever is doing this is seriously. Okay, maybe it's not me, maybe it's just the, but you don't like the word brain because there is no brain.
Yeah,
but
it's just the word.
Something is taking it seriously and thinking there's a pattern and trying to analyze how to change, how to create a better reality. Since there's nothing to be done in order to attain.
Yeah. When it's seen that running neurosis, that something needs to be done or something is missing, it's just like this seemingly there's no programmer, like a programming, what I'm saying, that comes in. It's like when you install, I'm gonna go technical here. When you install kind of like an ad blocker from your website, you know what I'm saying? The moment that an ad comes in, it doesn't, when you seemingly disable that, you know what I'm saying, then all of these ads pop up and everything, right? So what seems to appear is that there seems to be a clarity here that even if all of this popping up and everything is just seen as emptiness, it's really nothing. Even the reaction that I have to do something is also nothing. So everything that is done, every single movement, every single blinking of the eye, every single questions or answers is the same. That is emptiness, and this is emptiness. This is stillness. This is stillness. And again, the words cannot land it, right? Because they're like, well, I don't see stillness, because you put a definition of what stillness or emptiness is. So these words that are being used are basically pointless, because what's being expressed cannot really be expressed in words, because words seems to pop up, come up, understand it, grasp it, trying to think that there's something that is missing or something that needs to be understood. But what the very word that comes up to try to understand the word is just going in a rabbit hole of trying to figure out. And in the rabbit hole, it gets caught up in this like, oh, I wish I was there. And then all of a sudden there's no thoughts. But since there's no thoughts, for example, when you're running or something that is done, that seemingly is just this openness, right? What it pays attention to is like, kind of like what I was saying, it's like the movement of the curtain. So there's this big wide open window, big bright sky, and there's this movement of this, of this really flimsy kind of like, like a curtain. It thinks it's the curtain. It thinks it's the movement.
Stillness, I mean, what I understand with stillness is like I can be in meditation for 4 hours or in silence for or no thoughts. I'm still there. I'm still there experiencing silence. So it's not, I'm still there experiencing stillness instead of movement. So
yeah. But what if I tell you that the experiencer is an illusion? Because that's what is. All experiences, stillness or non-stillness, movement, or or non-movement, all the opposition is basically a construct. So the experience of you is an illusion. So your experiences are all illusory.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I know that, but it's not felt.
No.
I agree. I'm not afraid of anything. I agree. I wish, but it's not happening. I mean, it's not happening in the sense that
because there's a persistent that you just caught yourself there. There's a persistence that the not happening, which is an experience of the you, is real.
I know I'm not real. I've been seeking for 30 years.
No, you don't.
Real, but it's not.
I'm going to be blunt here. You don't know that you're not real.
No, I don't. No.
Okay. So who knows that then? Who's making all of these statements right now?
Nothing, just this body.
What if there's no body here? Body is just another concept. It's another experience. As I said, everything that you experience is an illusion, including the body.
So I don't know. There's talking. Maybe that's also
it's an experience.
Illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like comparing this to a nighttime dream. Everything that is seemingly experienced in the nighttime dream, when you're dreaming vividly, you're a body, there's others and everything. The moment that there's no you, but waking up happens, you're like, oh, none of that happened. None of that was happening.
There was a you in the dream. In the dream, there is a feeling of me.
But that feeling, the moment that you wake up, there's no you. It was just a dream. You were just a dream. You can dream, so for example, in a dream that you are a billionaire, or you can dream in a dream that someone died. I used to dream of, death, you know what I'm saying? And I would wake up crying, and I'll wake up, I'm like, oh, none of that is true. Everything in a dream is not true. It's not like, that I was dreaming, that everything in the dream collapses and nothing is real. There's this apparent silence. There's this kind of like clarity when there's kind of like a wake up, and then the thoughts come in again. I'm like, oh, that was a really bad dream. So really what's happening, although nothing is happening, is that there is a non-noticing that you are still in a dream. This is still a dream, that you feel that you're absolutely real, that you think that you have a body, you think that your experiences are real, that it's not happening, then all this kind of stuff. And like a dream, no one's doing any of this. So when there's this,
Okay. I don't want to take everybody's time, but
no worries. Yeah. Ask away. There's enjoyment here in responding to this.
Okay. When it is realized that the self is not here, my problem, the problems, what problems, the everyday life problems will still be the same. They will
Of
not go
course.
away.
Yeah. Of
Course,
course.
but they will
Of
not be
course.
experienced as dramatically as they
It
are
can be
now.
experienced as dramatically. That's also it. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing that's not it. There's nothing that's not empty. There's nothing that's not stillness. And again, I'm using words that seems to kind of like create this state. There's no states, right? So when it's full on, right? For example, when there is a a someone basically is calling out help, 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 help over there. You know what I'm saying? Someone needs help. And it's not good. This character is not going to say that, oh, well, you know what? Nothing's happening. That's
No,
not
of course.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or for example, if you are drowning, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's drowning in a pool, there's going to be some happening, some appearance of struggling and everything. It's going to be what is, no matter what it is. Maybe that's a wrong example, the drowning. Sorry. So for example, when this is a better one, when you are inside the house and then there is your kitchen, went up in fire, in flames and everything in your house is burning, you're not going to stay, you know what I'm saying, in this Zoom meeting and say, well, according to Emerson, there's nothing happening and everything. So this dream is the dream of real. But real is a dream.
Yeah, but if you don't have enough money, for example, something will come up with the thought, oh, I might want to augment my fees.
That's what I did actually. You know what? This character looked at kind of like, I'm like, oh, you know what? This speaking, you know what I'm saying, is just, it's there's a lot of people think that a lot of money is made here, and it's the opposite, right? So this character went back to work, went back to corporate work full time, so that he can continue doing this speaking. There's the love for this, or not, you know what I'm saying? So it's still the same, but there's peace with it. There's no bitterness. There's no nothing. It's just what is, right? Or even if bitterness comes, then it's also what is. Everything is allowed.
There's no resistance there. There's nobody to resist.
No, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Even if there's resistance, there's no resistance to the resistance. So everything collapses basically because it's seen as equally empty. Although there's no one seeing, there's no separation. And when there is no one driving the show, no one driving the bus, no one controlling everything, then it's out of hand. This is out of my hand. There's nothing that I can do or not do about this because there's no one doing any of this. So there's almost kind of like a sitting back, it's on autopilot. There's no one driving.
To go back to work, no, just that it happened.
Yeah, something happened, it happens. There's no trying to create this false sense of that since there's no one speaking here, that all the problems are solved. For example, bills still have to be paid. There is still going to be some eating still has to happen. And there's this kind of like, there's this commentary about, if there's no one there, there's no one here and there's no one there, but this is still happening. This is still appearing as an appearance of reality. But reality is an experience, and the experiencer, which is you, is an illusion. So reality is an illusion.
So there's never a hard choice to be made. There is always a...
Well, hard choice might appear as well. Yeah, hard choice might appear as well. But there's no attachment to it, right? For example, if tomorrow, there is just this kind of like, I have to attend to my family. There's no attachment of being a speaker. There's no attachment of Emerson. As I said, I joked about it a couple of months. I'm like, well, you know what? If I'm not able to do this, maybe I'll be working at McDonald's drive-thru and you can ask for a one-on-one in the drive-thru. Would you like fries with that? There's no attachment to what is. Before there was this goals and ideas of a pretension of what should be. It's just what is. It doesn't mean that when a character, or an I or a me becomes a speaker, that it's completely free of all suffering. That's not it, because there's no one suffering. Free of all problems. Problems might arise. For example, if my mom kind of like falls, she she has mobility issues. There's going to be saying, hey, I gotta go. But there's no more attachment. You know what I'm saying? To kind of like, I should have done that. I should have, why did that happen and everything? Even if those arises, there's no engagement in it. There's just, it's just peace, basically. It's just peace no matter what it is. There's peace even if there's rage or anger that seems to appear. But what seems to appear as rage or anger dissipates, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not held on to it by anyone anymore. It's just simply what's going on. And it's not even going on. So it can't really be understood. There's trying to understand what's happening here, but there's no one here that needs to be understood, because all of these stories are just an illumination that there's nothing needed. There's already peace.
All inside the story, there is all this how to manifest what you need and law of attraction and all that. That to you, I mean, you used to I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I had a vision board.
Yeah. What do you think about it now for people that are story?
There's nothing wrong or right about anything at all. It's just an appearance, right? So it's kind of like, if you're not going to go to a dream and say that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. There's no one choosing to do any of it, right? But there's just no more engagement than that. There's no more engagement getting caught up in a fantasy of manifesting or changing reality or wanting something different than this.
Okay.
Because it's already seen that, when it's seen that, oh my goodness, without any thoughts or ideas about what paradise is, this is already paradise. But if you have ideas of what paradise is or thoughts about what paradise should be, then this is not paradise. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you. Patrice, yeah, I just joined a Pilates exercise app called Better Me. It's hilarious. Yeah, there's no better and there's no worse. It's just what is. It's funny because the apparent seeking is just basically a self-affirmation. The seeking is a trap because it affirms that there's a self to drop. Kind of like what I said earlier. I think what I said is you cannot unself the self. And there's this self-improvement, this seeming industry, and it's really, really attractive. Maybe if I went into self-improvement, I would not have to get a corporate job because it sells. It sells. It sells, for example, when there is, it sells when there is something that can be done. It sells when there's a stringing along. It sells when there's a carrot dangling. So when a carrot is chopped off and said that, would you like to eat a salad? It's just what is. There's no more golden carrot. It's just what is. There's nothing better than this. This is already this. And what this is just so simple. And so it does not need a self-improvement. There's no self to improve. So all of this are just pulsations of like, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, maybe I'll and then the other one is maybe the ultimate, I think, kind of like thing is like, what if I become enlightened? That's the ultimate self. What do you call that again? That's the ultimate self project, is to become the higher self. Ultimately, it just creates this illusion that there was a self in the first place, and it's lacking, that there's something wrong with me, that I'm not a good student, that there's something that he has that I don't have, something that they have that I need to get. But what is appearing is already what is. In the absence of comparison, in the absence of comparison is a thief of this. Comparison, like he has something that I want. But what is being expressed here is that there's no one here that has anything. Possession is just an idea. Identity is just another thought. So in the end of the idea of identities, in the basically seeing through, although there's no one seeing, that there's nothing behind and there's nothing beyond. When it's seen that the picture is already complete, it doesn't try to do alterations of the picture. It doesn't go into Photoshop and Photoshop. It's already this. The picture is already complete. But the picture doesn't have anyone in it because the one in it or the idea is just a picture. Hi, Emerson. When you said there's no one driving, it reminded me of the idea who's driving the car, meaning that we are given a brain but no manual. And if life doesn't work, it's because don't know how to drive it properly. Cool story. Yeah. It's there's just no one driving. No one driving. Eri goes, we did also 2021 vision board for 2022. Non-duality wasn't in it. So the idea of trying to want, the idea of trying to, the idea of opposites, that there's something lacking, that there's a final step, there is an attainment, there is a dropping, there is a revelation, there is it blocks what is already. So in the absence of the longing for words, what's being longed for are just words that are meaningless. What's being wanted, what's being desired is just a word. It's just a word, it's just a thought. So instead of seeing that the thoughts are just empty appearances that seems to obscure what is already, then it gets caught up in different thoughts about that this is not it, although it's already it. Is this Emerson always happy or does it get mad or sad? There's no one here that is happy. There's no one here that gets mad or sad. In the story, there's an Emerson character that seems to be talking about this. And it doesn't really matter if it gets sad or mad, but not really actually. Sadness happens, madness happens, or whatever. It's not connected to a story. It's just a thought about another thought. But let's go to story mode. It's kind of funny that for quite a while when people used to ask me this question, realistically in the story, there's just a lot of peace. There's just a lot of what isness. There's a lot of appearances. There's a lot of this and that and everything. But all of the appearances is kind of like this talking about a dream last night that happened. It doesn't have any meaning. It doesn't have any purpose. It didn't even happen. Again, if you want to ask a question for people that maybe were late in the beginning, you can raise your hand like this. I just like this feature, and it will automatically create a hands up. Isn't that cool? Or you can also do this. Seriously, that's the coolest thing I've seen in a while. You have to hold it there though. Oops.
Oh, there you go. I just want to see if it would work.
Okay.
It worked.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, I did not know that that was a happening. So it's very nice.
Oh, likewise, likewise. I've just only seen that.
But since we're talking, maybe I can ask you a few questions here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Go ahead.
So obviously it's a little I mean, it almost seems like it can keep going around in a circle. It's very circular, the presentation that you make.
Yes.
And it's like one of the things that caught my attention was when you said it, you know, you don't have any more engagement. You know, you're not so engaged. And when you talked about your mother, I'm looking at a different screen, by the way. That's why I'm not.
No worries, no worries. It's okay.
Okay, it's a bigger monitor.
Yeah.
And when your mother, you came to your apartment and you didn't know if your mother was being taken away by an ambulance
Yeah,
or not.
yeah.
And so probably at that time, maybe your heart started beating more, possibly, if that, I would say that. And maybe there was some blood came to your head and you became a little fearful. Now, wouldn't you say that that's engagement with
there's an appearance of reaction? You know what I'm saying? For example, if somebody steps on your feet, you're going to say ouch, right? For example, if somebody punches you, you're going to like, why'd you do that? So that's just automatic reactions, but it's not tied to a personality. Seemingly it's not tied to an individual. It's just what is. It's just what's happening. There's no more trying to grasp it. So there's no questions of like, oh, I should have been there. Or even if that arises, it's just a seeming. So every single reaction, every single experience is just seen as empty. It's not an avoidance. It's just what is. There's no difference from this to this. Everything that's appearing. For example, if there was raining, that's just what is. If there is walking, is just what is. It's just an appearance. It's like being in a dream. There's no one controlling the dream, but there's also kind of like when there's a lucidity in the dream, seemingly. There's this happening, but there's also a calmness simultaneously with the reaction.
Okay, so let me talk about that calmness.
Yeah.
So how did you experience, or how did you see calmness if you thought maybe your mother was going back to that?
There's just an acceptance to whatever. Maybe calmness is different, you know, a wrong word. There's just peacefulness to whatever seems to be appearing.
But then the peacefulness, like you mentioned several times, is that there is always and I'm not sure if I'm putting this
no
right.
No worries. Yeah.
Maybe that there's a silence or there's an awareness. Would you say there's an awareness of the
awareness is just a thought, right? So all of that we're talking about, like, for example, it's an idea. So in the absence of ideas, and I use words like stillness or peacefulness, basically what I'm trying to express is the unknowable, the infiniteness, you know, something that is always permanently this. It's hard to explain it, you know, and I think there's you know, words can be used. I use a lot of words like emptiness or silence and everything, but it's not separate. It's not something that is separate from what is. So for example, if I'll give you, for example, I'll give you that scenario, right? So I can like saw kind of like an ambulance something. I got out of the car and then ran to that's also silence or the unknowable doing all of that. Although there's no one doing all of that. Does that make any sense? So there's no separation from the reaction and the silence. They're simultaneously appearing together. Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't make very good sense.
It doesn't.
In a way that I mean, I can see intellectually that it could be said there's always silence, because if you understand the whole philosophy of non-duality, obviously you know that there's nothing there. There's only oneness, and there's only
but that's just another idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but when you talk about it
Mhm.
in here,
Yeah.
it sounds like to me that it's coming across as, oh, I'm running to I'm running up the steps and because I'm worried. And
Yeah.
yet, while I'm worried, there's sort of like a duality there
No,
where, there's
it's
also this deep silence within.
yeah, there is this running, you know what I'm saying? There's no I. I'm just using words. I have to use words, you know what I'm saying? It's just there's this running and kind of like this, kind of like, but there's also it's hard to explain. There's just this completeness of it. There's no one doing any of it. There's no one trying to change things or whatever. It's just what is. It's just what is appearing is that there's this running, that there is this silence at the same time. It's simultaneous, so there's no separations. There's no one doing anything. It's silence doing the running. It's really difficult to express it. There's just this completeness of what's happening, and there's nothing that is. There's no one that is. It's just seen as complete. It's just seen as perfect. It's just seen as whatever seems to be appearing. For example, if there's no one doing anything, there's no separate Emerson that's trying to do, because Emerson is just a thought. It's just all what is already. It's like being in a dream at night when there's no one controlling any of it. It's kind of like what I said. There's just this lucidity to what seems to be appearing. Um, I did a one-on-one before this, and it was funny because when the one-on-one that I did, when she was trying to, I'll release the video, when she was trying to express the obviousness of this, she could not even come up with words. It's so hard to express in words because we're telling in stories. There's getting caught up in the actions of the person or whatever, but without words, it's already obvious that there's no one doing anything, that there's just this silence. But if you try to kind of like figure out kind of like, well, there's duality, of course there's going to be duality, because words are seemingly going to be an idea that there is someone doing, although there's no one doing. All of these are just words that appears to create a narrative of someone or no one. No one or someone is the same narrative. It's just all words. It's just expressing something that cannot be expressed as a story. Because all I'm basically saying is there's a story, that there's this silence and there's this, that's a story. None of that is true. There's this appearance. All of these are just basically this completeness already. And it's hard to understand or try to figure out or try to, see if there's duality there, because the one that's trying to figure it out is the duality itself. It can only think in this or that. So this is not about trying to figure out or trying to, it's meaningless. What's being said here is completely pointless. It's just this.
Okay, can I, so if I can pursue this a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
If this event would have happened 10 years ago or 20 years ago with your mother, how would it be different now? As 10 years ago or 20 years ago?
It did happen 10 years ago when my mom had 4 brain surgeries, right? So the first time, yeah. So yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I'm here helping her out, right? So, so when it happened a long time ago, maybe more than 10 years ago, the first time that it happened, I was in a spirituality thing. So I had to meditate. I had to do something. I thought that I had something to do with it. There was a lot of guilt. There's a lot of backstories and everything. I should be back with her. Why did this happen to her? And then I think I ran from my house. I was in a pajama going to the hospital, kind of like trying to, and there was a lot of rejection of the feelings. It was just this dramatic thing. There was no peace in it, right? And I was trying to I'm like, okay, I'm the oldest son here, so I have to take care of all my brothers and all my sister. You know what I'm saying? They're all falling apart, and I have to stay strong and everything. So there's a lot of filter happening. But that's also what is, right? So in the story, there was a lot of neurosis about it. There's a lot of there's something I could have done, and there's a lot of meditation, trying to change things, trying to think I was praying at one point. I was praying like, oh, please don't let this happen to her. Like I hope that this, and then I would put on this show that that there was this calm person here, but I was really kind of like falling apart. So there was this identity that was so defined, you know what I'm saying? And what, that it thinks it has to do with something. Maybe it's my karma. Maybe I have to do more selfless service. Maybe I have to meditate. Kind of like what people are saying, maybe I manifested this. So there's a lot of kind of like chaos that's happening in there. So what I'm trying to express, that there's just this stillness. It's like there's nothing that arises, you know what I'm saying, that I did this, I had something to do with this, or kind of like, oh, maybe she's eating too much, something cancerous. It's like all of these story doesn't matter anymore. All of these seeming ideas that's kind of like making it kind of like that there's a cause and effect, that I did this, or maybe she did this, maybe my dad, my brothers were not taking care of her. So there's just this, the drama series is canceled. You know what I'm saying? The drama called Emerson that has this mini series of the dramatic happenings of this Emerson. It's just what is. So seemingly what seems to be obvious is that what seems to be happening is just what is. And there's no more kind of like trying to figure out if I did something wrong or I could have done something. There's no what ifs and should haves and could haves, seemingly. There's just peace with it.
Okay. So
let me give you, oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Let me give you kind of like another kind of like extreme example, right? When my dog died, which is 16 years of, my dog, like the love of my life, seemingly, there was a lot of tears that came out, right? But at the end of the tears, at the end of the seeming heaviness and everything, there was just this emptiness at the same time. There's no stories of like, oh, I should have been more there for him. I should have walked him more, or I should have given him peanut butter or something, whatever. It's just what is. There's a full acceptance and there's no one accepting it at the same time. It's just radical acceptance of whatever seems to be appearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm hearing you say,
yeah,
is that because you are, you were in a different spiritual movement before, and now you are more, and I don't know your background because I don't know.
I was in the awareness practices. I was in the, meditation. I was a lineage, all that kind of stuff, all very spiritual kind of like character. Yeah.
But now at this time in your life, and I don't know, did you have a particular awakening where everything changed just like that
It's just a story as well. Yeah, it's just a story as well. You know what I'm saying? That there's no one that awakened. It's just, there's just this, right? There's just this. There's no history. There's no future. It's just this. So there's no awareness of anything at all. There's no awakening whatsoever. Yeah, there's no one that awakened. There's a story. The story basically is, if you want to hear the story, there's this seeming kind of like trying to understand the story to try to make sense of what's being said here, which is just, it's going to be contradictory. After seeking for a long time, and I thought that I got the enlightenment about 12 years ago, and I was teaching, spirituality and meditation, all that kind of stuff. Everything that you ever hear about spirituality, basically, I did it. And there was still this person, you know what I'm saying, that thought that he was better than others, that he had attained something that most people would want. So I was teaching kind of like, trying to reach, I can't remember really. It's just a story. So when I thought that I lost that, because maybe because of my, I was having a lot of, in that story, I was having a lot of chaos, with my mom, relationships and that kind of stuff. So there was this thinking that I lost something that I thought that I got before, like a clarity or something that I thought, and I thought that I had gained that. I thought that I've attained that by meditation and selfless service, helping others. But when the chaos seemed to come, I could not meditate out of it anymore. Like, for example, I would be meditating and I would be like, okay, there's still a lot of grief here. There's still a lot of sadness here and everything. So I was trying to seemingly what he was trying to do, trying to meditate through it, trying to find a peacefulness in it, trying to change things. There was still someone driving the bus, so to speak, right? Trying to get into a point where everything is okay. So when there was this dropping away of the what thought, or not dropping away, so that's not a good word. There seems to be a loss of what seemed to have been peaceful and blissful, that kind of like spiritual, enlightenment, so to speak, that moment that I was like, oh, everything is one and everything is love, everything is oneness and everything. But I was holding on to that really, really dearly. I became a teacher and I was teaching that. So when all of this chaos seemingly appeared, I thought I lost the enlightenment. So I started seeking again. So there was seeking, and then encountered this communication that it already is. There was a lot of resistance to it. There was trying to understand what this is, trying to navigate through how do I get this? How come they have that? And then seemingly, and this is just a story, seemingly there was just this ordinary, playing music, DJing, and it was just, and this is just a story, was seeing that there's no one doing any of this. This is just all automatically happening. So it was seen that the person that lost his enlightenment, got his enlightenment, looking for his enlightenment, is not real. Like a dream character. Like the one speaking right now. So there's no reality and there's no non-reality. It's just what is. So there's just this all understandings, all definitions, all belief systems, all positions, everything collapses, because it's like, okay, so that was held on to this belief system that I'm real, that I have free will and choice, that I'm doing this. So there was just this openness. There's no position here. There's nothing wrong or right about here. It's just this. It's just very ordinary. So there's no one special that attained anyone here. There's no awakening that happened. There's no position. There's no one that got enlightened. Everything is just seen as a concept, as ideas. And there's nothing wrong or right about any of it. But Donald, I'm going to put you on hold. I have to use the washroom. I'll be right back. I've been drinking a lot of water. I'll be right back. Hold.
Okay, very good. Speaking of water.
Hi everyone, going to show you where I am, if I can do this.
Am I still on audio? Can people hear me? I guess not. Okay.
No, we can.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm not a technical expert here, so I don't know. I don't do Zoom very often. You mentioned water. It got me to think I'd better be drinking a little bit.
Cheers, Donald. Cheers.
Yeah, we have the same glass here.
Yes, I copied you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And
Yeah.
but if I could,
Yeah, for sure.
try a little bit more. Would that be okay?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think my original. Thank you for your story, by the way. That's
Oh.
very, very. I had no idea. In fact,
Yeah. I've told it so many times, right? That it's just a story, right? It's
yeah, I'm sure you did.
yeah.
But if we go back to the story,
Yeah, for sure.
and say, okay, we realize that it's just a story,
Yeah.
and that it really is just a blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You could also say that in the story there was a particular time, and what I like to know
Okay.
is, was there a particular time in the story that you could say, let's say on March 3rd, that I finally just made
Yeah.
a shift, even though all these words I realize are not correct.
Yeah,
But
yeah, for sure.
there was a turnaround. I said, oh, now I got
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Maybe you just
yeah.
laughed your head off or something.
Yeah, there was actually, it was kind of funny, right? Because, there was just so much. This was like there's no time, but in the timeline, this was kind of like I got canceled as a teacher, spiritual teacher, and basically called everything a fraud and everything. Basically, kind of like, there's a lot of apparent kind of like, basically like the character just kind of like completely fell apart. It was falling apart because it was just, it was maintaining this idea of specialness. It was really, really special. And but it was really falling apart, and it really had no choice. So it listened, looked far and wide, like looked at every stone. I'm saying, I have to get this back because this is my identity. This is something. So about 7 years ago, there was a falling apart, a couple of years of like just being canceled and crying, and suffering and wanting to end everything, so to speak, right? Because the position that it held, the specialness it was the complete identity of it, the identity of being a spiritual, enlightened, or some mastery. When you lose that, it's like it's the most devastating loss. So there was seeking everywhere, and it was listening to a whole bunch of different teachers, and then encountered this uncompromising communication that was just kind of like, it was really abrasive, really, really abrasive, that there's no one here. But something cut through, what I'm saying? Something that was kind of like not really recognized because no one recognized it, but there's an intuitiveness. And these are just words, right? There was an intuitiveness that, you know what, I'm really resisting this, but who's really resisting this, right? So there was this, so I listened to it nonstop. I kept on hitting the brick wall over and over and over again. I had questions that were just kind of like, was just so, how do I say it? Trying to get this, trying to understand it. And there was also this criticism that I don't believe this, you know what I'm saying? But there's got to be trying to find holes, you know what I'm saying? What's being spoken about. And, but there was also this definite, like, resonance with it that I can't explain. I'm like, why am I resonating? Because it's obliterating everything that I believe in, obliterating kind of like, the awareness, all of this kind of stuff, the dual, all of the kind of stuff. And it was really humbling at the same time, because it was expressing that there's no one special. And the character that thought it was special was getting kind of like almost smacked, if you know what I mean. It was getting slapped, right? It was kind of like, oh shoot. And then there was just frustration that there's nothing to get and there's nothing to figure out, that this will never be understood. And there was almost like a seeming, again, this is just a story, there's really no meaning to it. There was a seeming giving up, although no one was giving up. And then just one day, because I was playing music for about 4 hours, and there was really, just doing the stuff that I love because it relaxes the character, just to play music and everything. And there was just this kind of like, no one is doing any of this. This is all happening automatically. This is kind of like a wow. So there was this, it was like this big wow in the beginning, like, what the hell is going on? And there was this like, oh, it's almost anticlimactic, right? You're expecting kind of like the Buddha and Jesus Christ to come with the certificate. You're now enlightened. No one got enlightened. It was just this humility and the kind of like that feeling. This is, stepping lightly in words, the apparent feeling that it's always been this way, that this is just automatically happening. There's just this seeming programming called Emerson that thought that it was running the show. So the burden of that controller, you know what I'm saying? It's like it got retired. So there was this laughter and there was this crying for no reason at all, because it's like, what the hell? So all of this, none of that really mattered. It was almost like a big joke, right? It's like a prank that got revealed that, well, there's no one here. And so there was just this, how do you say it? Speechlessness. I could not speak. It was just kind of like, I'm like, what the hell? I was about to teach a silent retreat, and I canceled it because I could not teach anymore. So there was a period of time of just not really speaking about this. There was just a lot of looking at the wowness of everything, like, oh, wow. So it's almost like nothing to brag about. There's no point in telling anybody. There's no announcement. It's so the opposite of what I thought it would be. It's almost like it's very anticlimactic. It's like, it's very, the character became useless. Thank you, Eric. It was just very useless. Everything that there's nothing. Yeah, it was just, it's so hard to express it, right? And I'm just not saying that to it's just really hard to express it because it's just really simple. It's very ordinary. It's almost like the character Emerson is wiped out of its specialness. There's still a brother, there's still a son, there's still whatever. It's just old stories, but the filters of the high horse was taken off, and it's just this ordinary enjoyment, relaxation, that everything is already this. There's nothing to do, there's nothing to figure out, there's nothing to know, and then the laughter at the absurdity of speaking about this is also what's happening. That's why I laugh a lot, because it's really absurd to speak about this when there's no point, there's no meaning, but there's also no one choosing to do this or not do this.
Thank you. I'm sure everybody else has heard your story before.
Yeah.
Many times I shouldn't have put everybody through this, but I never
You did not do it. Don't worry.
Could I ask you one last thing?
Yeah, for sure.
You said there's no more specialness and everything.
Yeah.
And then thank you for the story, because I always enjoy hearing people's whatever you say, they're a little experienced. And that sometimes when I've heard this with people and other people, it seems like there is a specialness that can come back and that can happen in situations. In other words, you're in front of a mic a lot, and you're talking to a lot of people, and you're sort of the man, and so do you ever feel that? Do you ever feel that maybe some specialness does kind of creep in every once in a while?
Not really, no. It's just what is. Yeah, it's just what is. It's if I wanted to feel special, I'll be in front of a DJing in front of like thousands of people. I DJ, you know what I'm saying? That feels really, really special. You know what I'm saying? When there's people dancing and everything. This is just ordinariness. This is just having it. It's really nice to speak just plainly. But just as there's no dangling carrot, there's no it's just natural.
And I should stop right now, but just one last thing.
No worries.
It's like, if you could feel then special in front of a crowd of, let's say, 10,000 people DJing, and it's a natural thing. Being special has this thing.
Yeah, but there's no one. But what I'm trying to say, there's no one better now or lesser. Like, it doesn't see kind of like that you're less or more, or there's no. It's just flat. It's flat, right? So if specialness seems to kind of like this feeling of elation, that's what is as well. But there's no one here that feels that it's better than anybody.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of respect now. Again, this is just stories. This is a words, right? There's just stories. So for example, when I do one-on-one, I just see emptiness already. There's no one there that is less or more or whatever. It's just what is. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Keep on coming back. It's okay. It's okay to ask questions. There's no one choosing it. And sorry for the repetition of the rerun of the story of Emerson.
See, I'm mute.
There's a question from John, actually. Sorry, I did not see that, John. When speaker says you are what you are looking for, can you please expand on that one? I don't really use that, to be honest, right? Because it's confusing. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it, to be honest. You are what you're looking for. I guess, you know what I'm saying? There's no separation, but there's really no one looking. Again, words seem to create this division of an understanding of something that cannot be understood. It's just very it's wordless. It's wordless. There's nothing that is looking and there's nothing that is seeing. It's wordless. Again, words that, you know, I use a lot of words, obviously, because there's a speaking about this, but it's meaningless. There's no one that's looking. And, you know, okay, go back to the story mode, right? When there was this spiritual seeker, spiritual kind of like entity or whatever, there was always this sense that there was an awareness happening, or a witness, so to speak, that if I only unlock that witness, the ultimate witness or the great awareness, that I'll be united with this, that there's something that needs to happen. If only I see who's looking, then I will have this boom. But there's no one looking. There's no one watching. Isn't that the best freedom ever? No one's watching. No one's looking. No one's observing. There's this kind of like almost like this belief system as a kid, you know, you better watch out, Santa Claus, and everything that seems to be passed on into the belief system, that there is a great awareness that's aware. Ooh, Santa Claus is aware now, and it sees good or bad. So when it's seen that it is already is, you know, there's no separation. There's no one observing. Hey, John. Yes, please expand on that question.
Yeah, just to follow on that, really.
Yeah.
It's just like when you say there's when it's seen.
Yeah.
In the language and in the words that's used, I suppose there's so much emphasis on looking.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
In the world, and you're thinking about this, you're also looking, constantly looking, and looking maybe.
Oh, I get
so much emphasis on the sense of looking.
How about this? So what is behind those eyes is nothing. It's what's beyond those eyes is also nothing. So who's looking then if it's just nothing to nothing? So seeing is really blindness, because it creates this appearance that there's someone looking. What if let's even go a little bit further. So the unknowable is behind, and there's also beyond is unknowable, but there's no beyond and behind. Those are just appearances. So is there really an observer? Is really a subject or object?
So that goes back to the seeing, the seen and the seer are all one.
They're not even one, they're none.
How can there be none when seeing?
It's kind of like I'll go back. So I'll go back into the dream analogy, right? Like a nighttime dream. Everything that seems to appear, the seeing, the moment that awakeness seemingly happens, the seer is also not there, meaning it evaporates. It was just an illusion. So there is this seer, that's put in a story mode, right? So there's the seer, the seeing, and the seer. So there's this one, meaning that there's just one, but one is also none.
But they're still seeing.
It's just again, all of the experiences of the one is an illusion. So it goes even further. It's beyond what can be comprehended, right? Because there's this, the usual kind of like entrapment of seeing that there is a witness or an origin or a source or a self and everything, right? Then it gets stuck in that idea that there is this someone. So when it goes obliterates of that one, because that's just really a knowing, right? For example, if you say that, Well, the seer, the seeing, and the seen must be the same observer. Maybe it's the great awareness, or maybe it's the pure consciousness or whatever. But who knows that? Isn't that just a thought? Isn't it just another idea? Isn't it just another concept?
It's just the tricky bit is when you keep saying when it's seen.
It's just a word, yeah.
Everything collapses.
I usually say when it's seen, but by no one.
Hmm.
When it's seen, I'm not sure if people usually miss that. When it's seen by no one, meaning that it's not really seen, meaning that it didn't really happen. You know what I'm saying? When it's seen that no one, that all that there is this, then the one that sees it is just this.
And how does that then relate, that seeing by no one relate to intuitive intelligence?
What's intuitive intelligence really? It's just another thought, right? It's just another idea. It's just another concept. It's just another kind of like, it's so easy to come up with thoughts or ideas and concepts and everything like that. This is almost like ignorance. This is not about kind of like connecting things or whatever, or trying to figure out things. It's like childlike. When this was apparently seen by no one, meaning that the one that thought that was observing was seen as absent. There was just this childlike, like, what is this? What the hell is going on? What the hell? It's just this, almost like this, wow, it's always been this. It's nothing that I thought about, right? Because that it just obliterates any kind of like idea of what it is or what it should be. And it's so unexpected because it always is already what is.
So, and that's outside of the senses.
Senses is just another idea. It's just this. It's just this. It's just this. It's not, whatever it is seemingly over there, if you take away the words and the thoughts, it's the same as this. There's no this and that. It already is. Right? If, for example, if there is just, sometimes there's just, I'm laughing at Nick's post, sorry. Maybe that's how I make money. I'm going to start teaching how to DJ. Sorry. What was, I got sidetracked there. I'm going to turn off the chat here so I don't see it. But what is, that's why it's so hard to explain, because I have to almost like, speak to another, but there's no another there. I have to convince that there's no one there, but there's this conversation that's happening that seems to be dualistic, but dualistic is just an idea. So in the absence of ideas, again, if there was like an Armageddon of thoughts and words and it's just all done.
Okay, thanks, Emerson.
I was talking to someone earlier, and I think you said something earlier, Catherine, that was so like, you said it's like swimming or something. I don't know if you want to express that. So this is like a new seeing. Apparently, we did a one-on-one earlier. Yeah,
you can talk about water all you like.
Yeah.
Until you go in the water.
Yeah.
Every description would fail what
Exactly.
it's actually like.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Thank you. We did a fun one-on-one earlier. It was just a lot of laughter because it's this, right? It was just we didn't even have words. At one point, we're just like laughing back and forth because it's just so absurd. I like that. Though. It's like if you've never been in the water, you will never be able to. Yeah, it's so yeah. Thank you, Catherine. How's the
Yeah, quite tired after. And I got in touch with my friend. I was supposed to go there. And even speaking on the phone, I was just like, even getting in touch with her felt different. And I was still a bit speechless. So words still came out.
Yeah.
And so I'll see how she is after this one. If she still needs me to be around. She's been sick,
Oh.
But she seemed to be feeling better.
Yeah. I see that you're outside now. Are you seeing all the flowers?
Oh, yes, because in my flat, there's that entertainment and that music, you know, with the bass. I know they talk about drop that bass on in the chat, but it was the bass. It gets to me. I'm very sensitive to sound, so it's so nice here.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. But oh yeah, there's still no words, you know. Wow.
Yeah.
There's still the awareness.
All right, Catherine, thank you for
Yeah, hang on, I'll show you around where I am.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just 5 minutes walk from where I live as well, so.
Nice. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Much nicer than being in the flat.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that water thing.
And the iPad fits very well on the fence here.
Yeah.
It's
so you
sort
can
of
just
magnet.
put it on the fence?
Yeah. It's that I mustn't move away too quick. Oh,
yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Catherine. I cannot come up with the words that you came up but that was beautiful though. Yeah, it's like, yeah. And I think Eric wrote something here. Oh, Casey, drop that bass. I'm gonna respond to Nick first. I just ordered the DJ set. You telling your story after 4 hours of teaching made me think of wanting to walk in the same park. Or that's what I actually that was my plan. I was actually going to when I was deeply into heavy seeking. I'm like, maybe I'll put up a tent. You know what I'm saying, and just walk in that park over and over again until I get it. And it's so silly to talk about that now. The same silliness that thinking that DJing. We'll talk later, Nick. Drop the bass. You can talk about music, but it's not music. Yes, exactly, Eric. Thank you. Casey. Hey, Casey.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, I was thinking about something John said, because back whenever when it's seen, right, by no one. And so I used to think, okay, well, there's no one. So there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just waiting. I'm not waiting, but I'm gonna just wait until something happens.
Yeah.
But like even when it's seen is wrong, is just not really right, because that implies time.
Yeah. It's so hard to talk about it, isn't it?
If you take the when it's seen out, then it's seen. And which is actually, it's always, right? It's like always, yeah. The words fail. It's crazy. I just wanted to bring that up.
It does. It's like
for any stickiness, don't get sticky
thing.
on when it's seen, because it'll never be seen.
It will
but
never
it's
be
always
seen.
seen.
Yes. See, how do you put that into where there's no
yeah.
Yeah, I like what Eric said. It's kind of like trying to talk about music, but it's not music. It's like you can talk about music until you're blue in the face, but it's not music until you play it. But the music is always playing.
Turn down that music. Trying to talk about music.
I actually invited Matt Corey guitar, and I was asking. I love his guitar playing, and I wanted to invite him to the breakout rooms later on so he can play some music, but he can't because he's going to his dad. So next week, for the breakout room, we're gonna have some breakout room. It's some music, some dancing. I don't know.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Casey. Breakdance room. Yes, I used to be a break dancer actually when I was young. And yeah.
That takes some like strength, like upper body strength, hardcore.
Yeah. It's easy when you're like 16, 17.
Could you do the windmill?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. No, maybe not now. Don't ask.
Oh, I want to see it. Yeah, no, you can do it.
breaking of the bones will apparently happen. They'll become like limping. I'm like, okay, all right.
If you could do the windmill at
this
52, I will
almost senior
donate
citizen is like limping.
$500. I will donate $500 if you could do a good windmill at your age.
I'll practice. I'll start practicing.
No. No.
Then all of a
It's
sudden
just
there's
gotta
no
be
more
on the
speaking.
fly, like,
well,
you
Emerson
know.
is now a famous break dancer at the age of 51. He quit speaking.
It's so cool. You're like the cool hip.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Grandpa break dancer.
Dude, check out this grandpa. He's breakdancing and he's a DJ. This is the place.
There's this Halloween costume called 40-year-old DJ. So maybe I'm going to change my name to 51-year-old DJ.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. Yeah, what's your DJ name?
51-year-old DJ.
That's what it's going to be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Right. Thanks.
I'm loving water a lot today. Just drinking lots of water. It's really nice. Ancient DJ, yes. I can be spiritual and become the Adya DJ. The primordial DJ. Just kidding. That is so wrong. I'm not going to mention your name, but behave. Timeless DJ. Emerson's DJ School of Enlightenment. You will not get enlightened, but at least you'll learn how to DJ. Sorry, my eyeglasses is crooked. There we go. Don't adjust your screen. Did Catherine fall away? There's no Catherine. There's no one that fell away. We just did a chat basically to eliminate that nothing is needed. That's basically it. It already is. Antonia. Hi, Antonia.
Hi, Emerson.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Antonia.
Your story, which you told me, deeply touched me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Because I was searching all over in my life, and I never could reach it. And I'm longing so much. It feels, what you told, it feels for me like hope.
How about this? It already is. There's no next. This is it. Although there's no this is. And what's being expressed here is that seeking that seemingly happened, that hopelessness, that hopeful and everything, is just a story. That this freedom is already appearing as Antonia. Although there's no Antonia, it's freedom. It's boundless freedom already. And seemingly what seemed to happen in that seeking was there was this suffering because I thought that I had to get it.
Yeah.
It is already. It is already. Yeah. It is already. It's like, you know, when you can like waking up from a dream, you're like, oh, I dreamt that I was this character that was seeking for a long, long time. And you're like, oh. And then the words collapse. And then the dream seems to appear again. But the dream that seems to appear again is a dream.
But I cannot feel it.
You don't have to feel it. It already is. That's what it is. It's not an experience. What seems to be longing for is the experience of feeling and everything, but it's longing for experience. What experiences are just an appearance. It already is. Without the experience of this is not it or this is it, it already is. It's already done.
Sorry, it just
No
touches
worries.
me so much.
Yeah, it already is done. It's complete. It's already free. It's so free that it appears that it's longing for it. It's so free that it's thinking that it's not it. That's how free it is. It's not an experience. It's not a state. It's not a future. It's not a past. It's this. This is the infinite.
But you talked about this hollowness. I felt this a short while ago. I had to cry so much that there was nothing anymore. It just felt hollow.
Yeah, it does sometimes, you know, but again, you know what I'm saying? There's also, there's this fleeting moment of aloneness, but that aloneness actually is wholeness. That there's no one here, there's no one there. This is wholeness. So that aloneness is that seeming grieving about that there's no one. It becomes this, it's just a concept again, and you can't conceptualize this wholeness because it's beyond imagination, right? You're like, wow.
Just I need a tissue.
No worries. Big hug, by the way. Big hug.
Thank you.
Big hug.
All my life I was seeking.
Yeah.
In the 80s I was with Osho and in India and in Oregon, the wild time in Pune. And
nice.
after that I was the Tibetan Rinpoches, and after that I met Karl Renz.
Yes.
When he just started talking in Munich.
Yeah.
And I was all the time with him till I moved to Florida. I'm living in Florida now.
Oh, wow.
And I'm missing a little bit the duality and the people and the Sangha.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I discovered you through Facebook and thought I will give it a try.
Yeah.
And you smashed me like a bomb.
Oh. It's just freedom. This is just freedom. Yeah. Freedom is speaking to freedom, and there's really no speaking happening. This is just freedom flowing. It's just what is.
I was desperately seeking this freedom. And I see
I was
now,
so desperately seeking, I got that tattoo.
Yeah, I can understand that. I
was
started painting, and I feel this freedom when I'm painting. And I'm painting so wild, I have to cover all the walls because I'm splashing,
oh
exploding with colors. And just now I'm very sad because my second husband died.
oh
It shakes me a lot.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
hear that. The way that it, and this is just a story, the way that death is seen here, right? It's there's this picture, and when that seemingly happens, there's this dark hues that appear and makes the picture this radiant picture, the sadness and the gladness, and it just creates this wholeness, right? Of this really striking, astonishing picture of what is. And this picture, you know, with the dark colors and the bright colors and all of the light and everything, it's just this, and sadness is also it. The deep grieving is also it. That's also the freedom appearing as sadness or grieving. And it can be so, yeah, it's devastating. Apparently, it's almost like when there is no one, the filters are off, so the grieving is full on intense, right? There's just this crying. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the feeling existence is squeezing me out.
Yeah. It's just freedom. That's freedom. There's just freedom. There's no one being squeezed out. It's just freedom appearing as that, appearing as not free or wants to be free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you made this experience before this moment or split second happened that you had a lot of depression?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. There were, again, you know what, I've shared this story many times, but there were times that I could not get out of bed, you know, and just, and it was just so devastating. It was because, especially, you know what, with people that have glimpses or that sees the, you know what I'm saying? When there is an authority figure and you, meaning that there's this thinking that there's someone that can give it to you, like a guru, or, you know, or, and then you feel such a lack, right? Because there's this hierarchy, there's this, you know, Osho or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that was really devastating that, you know, I felt that I fell from the graces, so to speak, or kind of like, you know, was completely like the lowest of the earth at one point, right? You know, that fell from grace, could not get out of bed, and trigger warning, there was a lot of suicidal kind of like, you know, appearance, right? Trying to kind of like end this and everything, and I thought it was enlightenment or die.
Yeah.
But it was actually die at the end.
Yeah.
Because the death of the character, right, that seems to propel that seeking, that longing for something that already is.
Yeah, I have a very, very deep longing, and I felt the same like you when I was with Osho, or also moments with Carl. It's like taking ecstasy.
Yeah.
But then you
Yeah.
go out, and then you fell back to your stinky
and then
normal
when you
ego.
get that high, the low is very low.
Yeah.
Because there's this
Absolutely.
delusion. Let's just say there's just this illusion that someone is high up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Only the moments when I felt this freedom, I was 12 days and nights with my husband in the hospice, and all people dying around me. That was very, very strong. It was like a catharsis for me.
Yeah.
And on one point, I felt opening my head, and a deep, 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 deep stream was just coming out and connecting. And then was freedom.
Yes. Beautiful.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it.
But now I'm back to normal life. Just thinking normal.
It is what it is, whatever it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. It's just freedom appearing as normal life, freedom appearing as ordinariness, freedom appearing as Osho, freedom appearing as someone that follows Osho. It's all the same freedom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nina. Wow. 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 Okay. It's always a perfect match, as it couldn't be anything different. Yes. Thank you. Oh, someone asked Eri earlier, is Eri going to be in the breakout room? I think Eri has a following. I'm not sure. You have to ask her. I'm going to post the video of Eri from Friday, I think. Was it yesterday, Friday? Oh. Okay. Thank you. Friday, yes. Oh, someone, Antonia. Oh, that was earlier. Okay.
Unless that was earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Antonia.
Thank you.
Oh, cool. You have to put it in the middle somewhere. Okay, yeah. Oh, maybe you did not update your upgrade your Zoom. Yeah. I didn't even notice that until today. So it's kind of cool. It's the little things like that. Anand. Hello, Anand. Or not. Yes, I'll post the video tomorrow. Who else was there, Ere? Was it just you that was speaking yesterday? Yeah.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
Sabi also.
Zabi. Oh, Ere and
cool.
Zabi. Okay. All right. Okay.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Oh, hi, iPhone. Oh, hi, Nick. It was the best. Yes. I heard. Unable to meet. Oh, no worries, Anand. We'll speak soon. I like that. Namaste. Namaste. I haven't said that word in I don't know how many years. When I was a spiritual teacher, I would walk down the street and people would recognize me and they'll be like, no, namaste, namaste. That felt really odd. Zabier, where's Zabi? Antonia. Hello.
Yeah, there is another question.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is not really a question for me, but often people ask me that. Does meditation make really sense? For myself, I meditated a lot, sitting still, was bored to hell. Thought, oh, how can I get out of that? I didn't like it at all.
Oh, I was a meditation master teacher. I used to do teacher
really?
trainings. Yeah. I used to graduate people to teach meditation. And there's nothing wrong or right about it. But yeah, there was just this Yeah, there's nothing wrong or right about it if that seems to make the dream. But if it's boring, and it's something that you don't, like, what I'm saying, it's just what is as well. What I'm saying, there's nothing wrong or right about. There's no one choosing to do meditation or not meditation. But seemingly, this character likes walking with my dog a lot more, eating, playing music, dancing, and painting. Yeah, it's just what is, right? There's no more trying to get somewhere or trying to find a stillness. There's no more trying to, like, I used to be neurotic, right? I'll be like, okay, you know what? I've only meditated 3 hours today, so my day is off. Like, I would even stop, in the middle of kind of like, like, I have to get meditated. It's like my medication, so to speak. And again, there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just what is. So there was this a cause and effect thing, that if I sit still for, a few hours, there's going to be some stillness. So there's just this abundance of, that's even a wrong word for that. It's just this. It's just, it's not trying to avoid anything anymore. There's not trying to escape this, right? It's just this. Yeah.
But I think the idea of myself to reach something through meditation, that was poisonous. That was just nonsense.
It was. There's no cause and effect, right? And there's nothing wrong or right about it. For I think I meditated thousands and thousands of hours, because I was trying to get, before I started teaching, I wanted to reach 10,000 hours of meditation, saying that kind of thing. And just and during that time, I'm saying, there's no difference, from doing that or doing whatever, because there's no one choosing to do it or not, right? So if meditation is happening, that's all right. If meditation is not happening, that's all right too.
Yeah.
There's no one choosing to do any of that, right? It's just what is.
Yeah. Thank you. I liked a lot the Kundalini meditation, because I like dancing a lot. And
dancing is
made me
awesome.
fly high.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
you,
you,
Antonia. We are going for a break. There's going to be a breakout room, so I'm just going to stop the recording. And oh, sorry, and then I'll keep that question. I'll answer it when we come back. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. There's an hour break. We're going to be back in an hour. But this room is going to be open, if people want to chat and everything, if you just want to hang out. There's Ere, there's Casey. I don't know if Sabi's here, but yeah. And Catherine is here. Catherine had a haha. Bye-bye.